Lesson 9.5, spheres and sections. So, there's a solid sphere and a circle. Of course, the difference, just like before, between a solid and a surface, a solid is filled in, okay? A solid is filled in, obviously, like a rock, and just a sphere would be empty. We're going to be dealing with empty, hollow spheres for the most part in here. The three sections of a sphere, and what you're going to think of when you think of a section, is that a plane, a two-dimensional plane, as if a sheet of paper was coming to cut through a sphere. Okay? So it can cut it one of three ways. The first way is a point. If the plane that's going to go and cut the sphere just meets the surface of the sphere in one spot, it's just going to slice it in one spot. So kind of tough to draw, but here's my sphere, or my plane. It just catches it, okay? And if it just catches it, it's going to create a point on the surface of the sphere, okay? If you get a great circle, that's a circle that contains the center of the sphere. So if my plane comes through, again, by plane I mean two-dimensional object. I do not mean an airplane.
Planes are funny.
If my plane comes through and cuts right through the middle of the sphere, it's going to cut what we call a great circle, which is right through the middle. So it's going to contain the largest part of the circle. There you go. It cut the greatest part of the circle. Right through cut it right in half. If you have a great circle, the plane section that's slicing it, cut it right in half. Okay? And then of course a small circle, that's if your plane section goes and cuts it anywhere else and creates a small circle. So your small circle, and pretend I've got the same type of plane section. By the way, the green is supposed to be my plane section that's cutting through. Okay, it's my saw blade. The small circle is going to cut it somewhere other than through the center. So it's going to create a smaller circle. Might cut it like that. And again, my plane section, bless you. My drawing abilities on the iPad are not great, but let's say my plane section cut it right there. So again, there, it cut like that, and it cuts that red smaller circle, not through the center. Cones only. If I cut a cone with a plane section that's parallel to the base, I'm going to get a circle. Oh, this is really tough to draw. I'm going to get a circle. It's going to be the same shape as the base.
That is beautiful.
Okay? It's going to be the same shape as the base. It's smaller, of course, because cone's getting smaller as it goes up to the vertex. But if it's parallel to the base, it's going to be the same shape as the base. Okay? If you cut it not parallel to the base, but not through the base, that's what we're going to call an ellipse. It looks like what you've always known as an oval, but we're not going to call it an oval. We're going to call it an ellipse. Okay? Again, it's kind of tough to draw on here and be precise, but if you cut it not parallel to the base, that's an ellipse, and I'll show you with the model here in a minute. Okay? Now, the third one over, the parabola. If you cut a plane section that hits the base but not perpendicular to the base, all right, you're going to get kind of an elongated, almost like an ellipse, only it has a flat side because that's where it hits the base. That's called a parabola. Okay? And then finally, if the plane section cuts perfectly perpendicular to the base, but not through the vertex, perpendicular to the base, but not through the vertex, that's going to be called a hyperbola, which is kind of hard to see, but that looks like this. Okay, so that's a hyperbola. Now there's one that's on here, or not on here, that I want to mention. If I cut perpendicular to the base and through the vertex, through the top point, bing, what shape am I going to get? Smith said it, a triangle. Okay? If you cut a non-cone parallel to the base, you're always going to get the same exact shape as the base. Right? If you cut a non-cone in another way, you're actually just going to have to think out how it works. And we can go over some examples like that. But these are the cases where, understand, if you're cutting parallel to the base, you're just going to get that base. So if it's a pentagon, if you cut a plane section parallel to the base, you're going to get a pentagon. Okay, I assume these are both regular pentagons, so you get a regular pentagon. And then a circle, plane section parallel to the base, you get a circle. Alright?